on? It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a Roll Tide inside the comment box? This is the post-press conference takeaways following Coach Kalen DeBoer after Alabama has held its first spring practice, all right? So this is how it's going to work. I'm going to give you my takeaways from the post-presser takeaways. I couldn't find the press conference to play it here for you guys, but I did watch it, and these are my takeaways. So that's how it's going to work. I know there's probably plenty of places where you can watch the actual press conference. Here are the main takeaways. I'm going to show you guys the long list of injuries. I'm going to talk about some of the key points, but specifically the one at the bottom on the quarterback battle. So I appreciate you guys joining me for a double dip today right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Please drop a thumbs up inside the comment box. And if we do get Kalen DeBoer's actual press conference later today, we'll post it in its entirety. But here's what we're watching for right now. There's a long list of injuries, and we'll jump right to it. I'm not going to beat around the bush. This is what we are watching for during springtime. And you want to see who's here, who's not here. And I thought this was interesting. Right? Out for the spring, I'll start on the left, and I appreciate you guys rocking in. I see you inside the comment box, NM844. Alex Oshbroff, who's a punter here, he's going to be out. David Byrd, which is interesting as well because he's the long snapper, right? I'm going over the long list that Coach Kalen DeBoer just announced. You have Bubba Hampton. He's also going to be out. He's a wide receiver who will be missing spring football practice. All the guys on the left and then the guys on the right are limited, but let me read them out. Cavante Henry, he's going to be out, right? That's interesting. He's at that wolf position. Now, he has put on significant weight, as we just talked about this morning. And then you also have Danny Lewis, who's a tight end who will be out. And as you know, Alabama just added another tight end to its roster in Jaden Dobson, right? The prospect out of Hillcrest here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Jaden Hobson, that's a prospect's name. Keon Sabb, the two I found interesting, and Keon Sabb is going to be out this spring. The guys who are limited, Caden Proctor, Justin Jefferson, and James Smith. I found it interesting to see that you have Damani Jackson and Keon Sabb. Coach Kalen DeBoer said, in his press conference, this might be new to some of us, but he's known about these for some time. I didn't know that something was up with Damani Jackson. Again, we have no idea what some of these injuries are or why these players are being held out for spring football. But not having Keon Sabb and not having Damani Jackson isn't something that I necessarily wanted to hear. I think kind of the silver lining in some of these guys being out is it provides opportunities for some of these other guys to get more playing time during this spring, practice window, I guess, right? Because, and like I talked about this morning, I mean, you had Damani coming back, you have Keon Sabb coming back, but now you have the guys who are behind them that are going to get an opportunity to make a name for themselves. So let me hear from you inside the comment box. Who do you think could be a corner that gets repetitions at that corner spot outside of Damani Jackson? Because you have Xavier Brown on one side. Who do you think it's going to be on the opposite side? I don't know. I mean, could we see Cam Calhoun, who just came in from Utah? Could we see him in at the corner spot? I don't know, right? Bubba Hampton, that's an interesting one. I think he got hurt right before that game against Michigan, and I guess he's not 100%. But we do see right here, in terms of not limited for spring, is Jalen Hell. Looks like Jalen Hell is going to be good to go, which is fantastic news. Max Tooney has Dejon Lee competing for that corner spot. Totally see that. Maybe some Deshaun Jones. He played a little bit of corner as well. Maybe Chuck McDonald won't be here until the summertime. If you guys are just joining us, these are the items that we're going over during Coach Kalen DeBoer's post-practice takeaways. Okay, so long list of injuries. That's where we're at now. We're going to talk about Keelon Russell. He has a short item that he said about Keelon Russell. Michael Carroll working at tackle. We'll talk about that in just a second. Isaiah Horton, why he came. Coach Kalen DeBoer's like, he came for a reason. On A-Day, kind of the celebration for fans. And then on the quarterback battle. All right. So Eli Pond inside the comment box saying petition to name nickname Ryan Grubhub because he's going to deliver us a national championship. Oh, I like that. So all right, but let me get to this out for spring. Okay. I think most notably clearly is Damani Jackson. We already knew about Deontay Lawson and Keon Sabb. So the positive thing right here is you have 3 starters for the fall, for this season, that are going to be out. And you're like, how is that positive? Well, the reason it's positive is because you have guys get to work in their place to provide more depth for Alabama, right? So working in for Damani Jackson, I don't know, maybe Dejon Lee comes in. Maybe you get a little bit more experience with a Deshaun Jones. I'll go over the roster management real quick too. Cavante Henry not being able to go, yeah, I do see that as interesting. But maybe you have Nakai Hill-Green at the inside linebacker position along with Justin Jefferson, who's limited. So now you kind of look to that inside linebacker depth. It's going to be like a Caden Jones who gets up. Maybe a QB Reese, right? You need those guys in development anyways. Danny Lewis, I didn't know something was up with him. And then Keon Sapp. I would imagine, who do you think, let me ask you inside the comment box, who do you think is going to be maybe getting more opportunities at the safety spot with Keon Sapp out for spring? I think it's the easy choice is probably either Zay Mincy or Jay Kirkpatrick Jr., right? I think those are the guys that are going to be fighting for that safety spot. Limited on the right, Caden Proctor and Justin Jefferson. Okay. Going back to the post-press conference thoughts after Coach Kalen DeBoer spoke to the media this morning, these are the items he hit on. That long list of injuries or guys who are out. Okay. Said this about Keelon Russell. He said he looks really good. I mean, that was really the soundbite. It was like, he looks really good. And I think when you go into Keelon Russell, he added 17 pounds. And that was probably the biggest takeaway from, the heights and weights that we talked about this morning. Because really, we know, at least we feel we know, that he's ready to compete. Coach Kalen DeBoer said, right, even today, he said what he's looking for the quarterback, right, is somebody that can be the guy who can command the huddle and be a leader. I'll come back to that in just a second. But that's what he's looking for, but he said he looks good. Another interesting nugget on Michael Carroll that Kalen DeBoer dropped is the fact that Michael Carroll is working, and it looks like he got some reps at tackle. How do you guys feel about, how do you guys feel? We are talking that maybe because he has a size, maybe we could see Michael Carroll at the tackle position. Are you surprised to see that? Michael Carroll, these are our post-presser thoughts following Coach Kalen DeBoer speaking to the media today. If we get a hold of Coach Kalen DeBoer's full press conference, we'll run it later in the day. I'm not really surprised to see Michael Carroll working at that tackle spot. It's going to cause competition, which is great. Five Adam, I'm with you, man. I think it's great for Alabama's offensive line. And that means as well that you're having a position battle, I would imagine, at that left guard position between Cam Dewberry and maybe a Geno Vandermark. Because I don't think that Cam Dewberry came over here to play tackle. Not at all. I think Michael Carroll is talented enough to play on the outside. Rich B, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. But that, out of everything, the long list right here probably stands out. I didn't know a lot of these guys were going to be out, to be honest. That's a lengthy list. Guys that are out. It may be because Caden Proctor is limited. Maybe you're having, in some way or another, you're having Michael Carroll, work around at tackle. But I think maybe the biggest thing that stands out on this, post-game, post-presser takeaway is that Michael Carroll working at tackle. That's gigantic. That's some mega news. Just saw Alabama ranked number 7 in the AP poll, number 8 in the coaches poll. Alabama plays Florida and Auburn this week to conclude its SEC schedule, then they'll go into the SEC basketball tournament. Coach Kalen DeBoer also spoke about Isaiah Horton. Said a couple things about some of the new guys coming in. Look, Isaiah Horton coming from Miami, right? And Alien College Football is like, why did Horton come? Well, Coach Kalen DeBoer, in this press conference that they just had, 30 minutes ago, I'm sure you could watch it. There'll be a lot of uploads of it. But he came for a reason. He had a lot of production at Miami. This guy played with Cam Ward. I've mentioned this many times. When I told a Miami source that he was thinking about coming over here, they were shocked. Look, Ryan Williams, Isaiah Horton, and Jeremy Bernard are going to absolutely feast. If you figure out who's going to be your quarterback and you get these guys in play, Isaiah Horton's going to have a fantastic year. I could see him catching 40 to 50 balls. I could see the same for Jeremy Bernard, and I think Ryan Williams will catch over 70, 80 balls. The thing is, and what I want to see Ryan Grubb do is get a lot of volume to the wide receivers. You don't need to go over the top all the time, frequently. Have that in store. Have a quarterback that can hit the deep ball as well, but don't live and die by it. Work the field. Control it, right? Control the tempo. Figure out how to get Ryan Williams the football as many times as possible and let him do his thing after he catches the football. Some of the things that he's able to do, I've never seen him before. This is year 2 of him. But he says Isaiah Horton came for a reason. He talked about A-Day as well. Said that they want it to be a celebration for fans, and that's why they're going to have some sort of a game. Now, I would imagine that coach is trying to figure out what they can do that makes sense to have people still come to Tuscaloosa to watch the game. Remember, there's no TV broadcast. And try to balance it out to where they don't show all their cards, don't show all their reserves, and still do something, that's football associated. Because that stupid transfer portal is April 15th. If you guys are just joining in, here are the guys that are out for spring. It's a long list. I didn't expect it to be like this. Nicole, what's up? I see you inside the comment box. Alex Osbroff, you don't know who he is. He's a punter. David Bird is a long snapper. Bubba Hampton, wide receiver. Cavante Henry, the wolf position. Damani Jackson, corner. Deontay Lawson, inside linebacker. Danny Lewis, tight end. And Keon Tabbs, safety. Limited, what does that mean? I don't know. Those guys are just limited during this point in time. So really, you have 4 starters out. Coach Kalen DeBoer spoke about this. I thought this was, outside of the Michael Carroll deal, practicing at tackle, I think this is probably one of the more significant notes as well. Talking about the quarterback battle. He's not, I don't think that he names a quarterback, nor should he during this point in time. I think it's important to develop a quarterback competition going all the way up into the first game of the season. Now, I don't want this to go into the season. I would prefer there's a quarterback named, 2 weeks out or something like that. But anyways, Coach Kalen DeBoer said this on the quarterback battle. It has to be a guy who can command the huddle and be a leader. I was watching this interview with Ryan Williams and Keelon Russell, and Ryan Williams asked him, he's like, what do you want people to know about you? Talking to Keelon Russell, and Keelon Russell says this, I want people to know that I'm a leader. I love that. Coming in as a freshman and wanting to be a leader. And look, if you played sports, you understand that some people just have leadership capabilities. So we spoke about that, and I think that's really interesting. And I'm sure that Ty has it as well. One of the sound bites that Robbie Oots had, a tight end who was recently at the NFL Combine, was saying that Ty Simpson has a skill set that people don't know about just yet. I like that. Drop a thumbs up on this video. I appreciate you guys being here. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. What I'm going to show you next is a quick roster management, and I'm going to highlight the players that are out for spring football. Just kind of give you a high-level view of what we're looking at for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And what I'm going to do is go back and kind of update some of these heights and weights and add the numbers. The roster management will be something that is in constant repair, as there's a lot to track. But anyways, here's our quarterbacks. All these guys will be competing for the job this spring. Ty Simpson, Keelon Russell, and Austin Mack. Austin Mack at 235 pounds. Keelon Russell now at 192 pounds, added 17 pounds. And if you missed it, he will be wearing number 12. Eli Pond, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. When you're looking at the running backs, all good to go. All these guys are healthy. I think things that stand out to me on this board is the fact that A.K. Deere, he's wearing number 0. 210 pounds. Richard Young at 216. Jalen Washington at 218. And then you have Jam Miller 220 and Richard Young at 216. Yo, Jam Miller and Richard, look at the running backs. Yo, that is some weight. Now that I've had to think about it, Jam Miller 220, Jalen at 218, Richard Young 216, Daniel Hill, who changed his number to 4, is at 240. Yo, now that I've had a chance to think about it, all the running backs are healthy too. All these guys are participating this spring. Yo, this is a big running back room. Receiver room, you're going to be without Bubba Hampton. Coach Kalen DeBoer just said, yeah, no, Max Tooney, right? At 216, you got to think he's bigger than that. Bubba Hampton's out for the spring, so that will provide opportunities for some of these other wide receivers to get, reps. It's good to see that Cole Adams is good to go. Same thing with Rico Scott, Ryan Williams, and Jalen Mbakwe, who changed his number to 3 from number 9. I want to see him. I want to see how he can compete. I love the fact that Alabama figured out a way to keep him here. And I do believe that Mbakwe can contribute in a variety of positions. Somebody asked me yesterday on the show, well, if he's wearing number 3, does that mean he's not playing defense anymore because Keon Sabb wears number 3? I thought it was a good point worth thinking about. But, I mean, there's different formations or different packages. Maybe you take Keon Sabb out and you put Jalen Mbakwe back there. I don't know. At the Husky, I have no idea if he'll even play Husky or if he wants to play Husky or if he wants to play corner. Think about this. Damani Jackson, he's out for the spring. Do you have maybe Jalen Mbakwe now getting more reps at corner? I don't know. Yeah, Walker, what's up, man? Points out Jalen Hell is finally back, and he changed his number. Yes, Jalen Hell is now number 8. On this screen, I think I've updated most of them, but I still need to go through the entire roster and update heights and weights and numbers. So if you see something, say something, but these are pages that I'm responsible for, and I'll continue to update. Okay, we've showed this graphic before, just playing around with it. It's like, a 4 wide receiver set. The tight end room, you have Danny Lewis, who's going to be out this spring. You have Josh Cuevas. I still need to add the new addition, which is Jaden Hobson, who looks like he's going to be a tight end. He was originally an offensive lineman at Mississippi State, then at South Alabama, and now he's here at the University of Alabama. So I will add Jaden Hobson. I have that written down. We'll put him over here. It's important to note, I was talking about this earlier. This young man, Marshall Pritchett, came in, 6'6", 215 pounds, 220 pounds. He put on, this guy right here is now 235 pounds at 6'6". I talked about him this morning on my morning spot. Big old dude. Man, I think that this guy, I have a big circle around him. And a lot of people are excited about him too, and rightfully so. But I think Marshall Pritchett, I don't know, I'm getting excited about him. But I always get excited about the tight ends, and then it's just kind of fizzled out for me over the last couple years. All right, here's a look at the offensive line. Please notate that Caden Proctor is limited. I don't know what that means. Eli, I think they keep Derek Meadows at tight end. I do. I mean, you have to put a lot of weight on him to be, a tight end. I think he has the skill set to be an effective wide receiver because he does have some shake. I mean, he's 6'6" or whatever, but he can move around. And I think because they have Marshall Pritchett already, I think you keep him at tight end. So in case you missed it this morning, I was going over Coach Kalen DeBoer, what he said during his initial spring practice. If we get a hold of Kalen DeBoer's press conference, we'll upload it. I'm sure there's plenty of places to watch it, but he said that Michael Carroll right here, this was the biggest takeaway, is that he was repping at tackle. And say he was going to play tackle entirely, but he said he was repping at tackle. That was the biggest thing probably that he said during the press conference. This is kind of how I have the offensive line. I've showed this graphic before. And I guess you could put Carroll here or put Carroll here, considering the fact that Proctor is limited. Here's the Alabama defensive line. Please notate right here that James Smith is limited. I don't know what that means, limited. And then Jeremiah Beeman, this guy put on like 30 pounds. So he's like 312 pounds right now, which I think was one of the bigger updates this morning. At that bandit position, all these guys good to go, right? A lot of competition right here. There's going to be a hell of a competition for the number 2 spot. I mean, this is a big opportunity for Keon Keeley, a guy, let's face it, there's no way to sugarcoat it. We all want to know, can this guy, become a number 2 or even compete over here, because we don't want Keon Keeley to transfer. We want Keon Keeley here at Alabama. It's going to be hard, though, because LT Overton is here, and he's not – I mean, that's one of the top defensive linemen in the country. All right, that wolf position, Cavante Henry's out. So, Justin Hill, who just came in, is 242 pounds. 242 pounds. This room is elite. And I think John Latham dropped some weight to get to, probably a more athletic build. You have Deontay Lawson, who's out for the springtime, but, you have, and I think Justin Hill's limited, so now you kind of look to the depth right here. A lot of youth right here. I think, actually, this is going to benefit the inside linebackers. They're going to be able to get a lot of reps right here. The corners, Damani Jackson is out for the springtime. So let's look at this real quick. We don't know if Cam Calhoun's going to play safety for sure or if Red Morgan, but maybe they see a little bit of corner. That's why I was wondering about Damani Jackson. Like, could he maybe see some corner? Or has that ship sailed? Who else do you think? So Dejon Lee, so Chuck McDonald over here on the right, he's not here yet. He doesn't get here till the summertime. So these are the guys that you could see potentially working at corner if Damani's out. Cam Calhoun, Deshaun Jones, Dejon Lee. I think they keep Red Morgan at the Husky position. Wouldn't it be interesting to see Dejon Lee work at that corner spot early on in the springtime? Safety, Keon Sabb is still out for the springtime, but Alabama shared some photos of him in the weight room, so he'll be back in time. He's just, no rush on getting some of these guys who aren't 100, out to speed. And then I've showed this graphic a couple different times. How about this? Alex Oshbroff, he's out, fighting for a punter spot. And then your long snapper who just came in, David Byrd, he's out too. So I'll kind of run over real quick what Coach Kalen DeBoer had to say one more time. And if we get a hold of the full press conference, we'll upload it here or you could watch it somewhere else, whatever. No big deal. But these were some high points that he had to say. Real quick, I'll run through them. I know there's people like jumping in and out. I'm not going to keep your whole time. But the long list of injuries, in case you missed it, let me show you one more time. Alex Osbroff, the punter, David Byrd, the long snapper, Bubba Hampton, Cavante Henry, Damani Jackson, Deontay Lawson, Danny Lewis, and Keon Sabb. On the right, guys who are limited, Caden Proctor, Justin Jefferson, and James Smith. Some of the things that stood out from Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference this morning is him talking about Keelon Russell. Says that he already looks good, and the fact that he's already added 17 pounds, I think it's more realistic that he's really competing for this job at the quarterback spot. I still don't think there's no chance that you put him in as a true freshman on the road against Florida State in week 1, but who knows what will happen. But it is good that he's added 17 pounds. You have Michael Carroll. Probably the biggest nugget today was the fact that Michael Carroll is seen repping at the tackle position. I think that is very positive and really exciting, to be honest. You need it. And maybe that's why Alabama hasn't been super aggressive going after a tackle. I know they could still go to a tackle in April 15th in this next transfer portal window, but maybe Michael Carroll, maybe he's kind of they like him at tackle. I mean, he's practicing there today. Talked about Isaiah Horton as well, said he came here for a reason, spoke on A-Day and said celebration for the fans, so they're still going to try to do something that is related to football for the fans. And then talked about the quarterback battle, said that, look, whoever is going to be the quarterback here at the University of Alabama has to be able to command the offense and has to be a leader. And one last thing that he said on Keelon Russell is, he's talking about his ceiling, right? And what he did at high school, and he thinks is going to translate, which it should. So that's kind of the takeaways from Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference. If I get the full thing, I'll upload it here. If not, go check it out. Other places, no harm, no foul. I'm dipping with the idea to be back tonight. So stay tuned, hit the notifications. These are this particular video will be uploaded as a podcast later today on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I appreciate your support. Thanks for rocking with me. This is my post press conference takeaways from Coach Kalen DeBoer after Alabama spring football practice number 1. As news happens, as footage comes in, I got you covered. Stay locked, stay loaded right here on Bama Football on YouTube. See you, fam, for the midday. Maybe see you tonight.